Hi everybody, it's Steven Brooke and welcome to Architectural Photography and Composition. I had a last-minute job that I have to do. It's the Coral Gables Centennial, and I've used the same couple of shots of the Coral Gables fountains and entrances, and a couple of the groups have asked me, could I please do a new one? And the problem is they want it this afternoon, which means I need to figure out how to shoot this now and get it edited and get it to them. So I thought, well, maybe this would be a good time to show how I'm going to go through this and share with you my ideas about how I'm going to get this done. So we're going to photograph the Soto Fountain, which I've shot before. It is one of the really iconic buildings in Coral Gables. So I want to do a quick walkthrough to show you what I think is going to be the best angle to do this. This time of year, we're in the summer. Well, we're not all the way into the summer, which means I'm going to get light on the north elevation, but probably not a lot. So let's take a look real quick and see what things look like on the north elevation. I don't have a lot of time to do this, and it's right in the middle of traffic. This is first thing in the morning, and this area, Granada, Sevilla, this is one of the highest traffic areas in Coral Gables. So I'm going to have a very short window to make these shots with all the traffic and construction. So I'm looking at the north elevation right now. There's a little bit of light on it, but really not a lot. Now, as we get into June, this will all really be lit up beautifully first thing in the morning. But right now, not so good. So if I look at this corner now, if I look at the east elevation and I look at the south elevation, that's not bad. Problem is I've got a house over there, which I'd have to get rid of in post. And I've got a lot of cars coming from this direction. So I don't think this is going to be very good. The ideal elevation is probably going to be the east elevation, because now I have full sun on the fountain. And again, I've got cars coming at me in many directions. This is going to be a chore to shoot. Plus the skies are coming and going. This is a typical situation everybody faces, and you have to figure out how to get through this. And so I'm looking here, this is going to be a good possibility, but I want to look at one more that I think might be the best. Now, this time of year, we're not going to get any light on the south elevation until like 10:30. I don't have time to wait till then to do it, to process the files and get them to my clients. I have to do this right now. So what I'm looking at, if I come over and I come over about here, now I have light on the east elevation, which I want, but I also have some of the south elevation, which is not lit. And unlike the shot from the east, this is going to give me some volume. I've got light coming around, I've got nice shadows. It gives a sense of volume to the fountain, which the head-on shot from the east elevation isn't really going to give me. So I think, given the time frame and all that, this is the first shot that I'm going to do. So I'm going to set up. Now it's slightly, a little bit of overcast. Let me say also, I like this shot because it shows a lot of trees. And one of the things about the design of Coral Gables as one of the garden cities is that it's really verdant. There are trees planted everywhere. So to take a shot of just the fountain without showing all the trees doesn't really tell the whole story of the Gables. So I really like this shot. What I've done is I've set this up. I have my white balance set at 6,800 to compensate for a little bit of the overcast. If it were full sun blasting away, 5,500, 5,800 is fine, but that's not the case now. It's a little bit overcast, and I want to boost the warmth of all of this. This is a lovely romantic setting, and I want to make sure the photos look like that. So I've got the white balance set at 6,800. I also am shooting horizontally. I can always make a vertical out of the horizontal, but I can't go the other way. So I'm going to include a little bit more width than I normally would to give me a little bit of play. Now also on I'm using my 24mm lens. I have a polarizing filter on here, and I have a function switch on the camera. And normally this is my shot, but I'm going to tighten this up just a little. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit. I'm going to center my fountain. Why? This is monumental. I don't want an asymmetrical composition. I actually don't want your eye wandering around the frame like I normally do, to keep the eye moving, to keep interest. This is a monument. I want that dead center. I want your eye to go right to the fountain and stay there. This is right at the junction of all these streets. It's meant to be a visual enjoyment. It's a place that you go to when you drive. This is an ideal situation that Merrick designed from his travels in Europe. He saw that there are obelisks and that there are fountains and entrances everywhere. And this is probably the most beautiful one in the Gables. So I'm going to set this up. Now I've got traffic like crazy. So I have my live view, and I'm going to use my Hoodman loop to make sure that I've got this thing in dead on focus. And I'm going to come right up in here, make sure I get it just right. Take this down. Now, while I'm still in live focus, I'm going to look for an exposure that's slightly under ideal, because I've got traffic going and I'm going to have to be shooting like this as soon as I start. I want to know where I'm going to start, and I'm going to start right here. So now I can look through the viewfinder, and I'm waiting till the car's clear, and I'm going to start my bracket. And I have to stop and start because of the cars. Sure, I can get rid of some of these in post-production, but I don't want to have to get rid of, I don't want to be spending a lot of time doing that. So I can wait for the flow of the traffic to come and go, and I'll shoot in the cracks and make sure I get a nice bracket. I'm going to stop where I know it's going to be a little bit overexposed, because those won't be useful. And as soon as these two go, I think I've got a teeny window, one more car coming, and I think I have, once it's behind, I can shoot when it's behind there. Comes out. Come on. This is what happens when you shoot in an urban situation. You need to deal with the cars. Ideally, I would shoot this on Sunday when there aren't the cars. I don't have that option because they want this thing right away. And I have a little window coming up right now. And that car in the back, and here it is, perfectly clean. And I think I have a shot that I can absolutely use. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go into the studio and I'm gonna get this shot as close to perfection as I possibly can, send it off to my client. It is now 7:56. They will probably have it by 10 o'clock and they will be very happy. What I'm looking for right now is I'm looking for the best one that I can before this starts getting burned out. I can deal with the shadows, but if this is burned out, it's not going to be very good. So here I have one car. These are already a little bit too dark. So what do we have over here? Plus a bird. That bird is going to go in post-production as well. This one, even though it's a hair dark in the shadows, I'm going to pick that up. So I think this is the one I'm going to... It's either this one, I'm looking here, it's a little light, so I'm going to use this one. Let's just try this. So when I click on it, I'm going to open this immediately in Camera Raw. One of the things I do just for the hell of it, I go into the effects and I see, will dehaze help me? And the dehaze takes the sky down a little bit at the top. And then the clarity opens things up a little. Now, I'm going to go to, I like the color. So if anything, I might cool this off just a bit. Now I'm going to go to the light. What I notice is these shadows in here, I can open these up a little bit. Not like that, that doesn't look real, but I can open these up to some degree, like right up out in here. And then I can open the whole exposure. I'm looking at this area. I don't want to take this so far that this thing is burned out. Now, if you notice, the brightest spot is the fountain, which is the way it should be. And again, I mentioned the fact that I've got this wider than I might normally do it, but I also have room. I can make a vertical out of this. So under optics, I'm going to remove chromatic aberration. Under details, this is a standard 40, and I don't want Camera Raw to do any sharpening for me. So I'm taking one last look. I'm going to make this small like we did in that one video to make sure everything looks good. I think we have beautiful clouds. I'm going to open this up in Photoshop and immediately save it as a TIFF file. So I'm looking this over right now. And like I mentioned when we were out in the field, the Gables is very much about the landscape. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up a lot. And I know some of you said, well, it doesn't look real. I'm not interested in that as much as I am in making a really pure shot. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to crop this in here. I would like this line, and I'm going to crop this here. I'm going to crop up into the street a little bit. Notice I have nice shadows. And I'm going to take this down a little bit. And I think if I go back, it's a little better proportion. And let's see where the middle is here. This is now just under 20, should be just under 10. I'm going to crop it again just a little bit more. And still a little bit more. Can you edit that out? Mm-hmm. I want my fountain dead center. Unequivocally dead center. It's a monument. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now I don't want these cars, so I'm going to use the remove tool. And I don't like the street sign here. I'm going to get rid of this one-way sign. I'm going to straighten that bollard out too. I especially don't want little white things at the edge of my picture. So I'm going to get rid of the stop sign and I'm going to get rid of this car. Fortunately, that's the only car that showed up when we were shooting with all the cars going by. I like the bird, but not that much. Plus it's going to look like a mistake. It's going to look like I have dust on my lens. So now I'm looking, this is up right on the edge. I don't need that. I want the tree to be the side of my image. In the summer, when everything is fully grown in, you won't see any of this stuff. You won't see any of the houses. These trees will just completely cover everything. So I'm going to move this up a few months, clear this out. Things look pretty good here. I'm going to fill that tree hole in a little bit, but I'm going to take out these little white areas. For the same reason, I want a nice clean line. I want the sky, I want my monument, I want the street in shadow, and I want this nice tree line behind, and I want it nice and clean. I don't want any of this stuff. You're not going to miss it. You won't know that these houses were there. Now I know I get some, well, that's not looking real. I'm not interested in that. I'm not doing photojournalism. So now I want to fill this in a little bit because this is a little bit unnatural. If I were a bonsai master, I would absolutely fill that in. Now, this is going to be tricky because what happened, obviously, somebody ran into this. So one way, easier way to do it is I'm going to select this bullard. Let's try edit, transform, warp. Let's see if that will get it over. And then I'm going to use the cloning tool and fix this. Clean the top. This happens periodically. People get drunk and run into these bullards, and then it takes them months to fix them. And the last thing I want to do is I want to clean up this line. The tree, this is beautiful. This is going okay, little, and then this I don't need. So here, just for review, here's where I started. This is what I started here. And with all the manipulations, I've got cars, I've got birds, I've got all kinds of stuff. Now I've got a much tighter, cleaner composition, but I'm not done. What I want to do now is I don't have big verticals on the side of the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my, edit that back, okay? I'm going to burn the midtones really carefully. I'm going to just take this here. I'm going to burn this corner. Does it make a difference? You'll see. So here's where I was. Look up here and then look down here. This didn't take much just to frame the image a little bit. And one last thing I want to do to make this, to give this a little bit more interest. I'm going to use my dodge tool, and I'm going to use it on the highlights, and I'm going to come across these trees and give them a little bit more shape, especially here. I mean, they're beautiful, but they're kind of laying in there flat. And then I'm going to come across the front just a little bit. The reason I'm doing it across the front, this is closer than the fountain. So this needs to be picked up a little bit. How much of a difference? Take a look. This is where I started, and look back in the trees, and it pops it out a little bit. It gives it a little, it's not a lot, it's subtle, but that's what you want. So one last thing that I'll do is I do it just for drill. I'm going to use adjustment, brightness, and contrast. I'm going to hit it on automatic just to see. That's horrible. So I'm going to take the brightness down a little bit, take the contrast from what it said. So this is what I had, and this is what Photoshop says I should have. And I don't like it, so I'm not going to use it. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Filter. I use Topaz Lab. I use Sharpener AI. I love it. I think it is the best sharpening tool out there right now. And it will look over my image, and it will decide, and it's 99% accurate what the issue is. And you can see it is going to sharpen things up beautifully. And I'm just going to hit apply. I'm going to let it do the work. It never over sharpens. You can overuse it. You can tell it to do a lot of crazy sharpening, but that's not, in this case, that's not appropriate. So take a look. This is the difference between not sharpening and sharpening. What I want to do now is I'm going to see what kind of vertical I can make, because I would rather, well, I don't want anybody to crop my images, but I would rather do the cropping myself so that I know exactly how it's going to look. So I'm putting the top of my fountain right at about 2/3 of the way up. So now I've got this space up above that you can drop type in. And I'm going to save this with a V, meaning vertical. So now I have two files. I have my horizontal. I have my vertical, and I'm going to send these to my clients. It is now 8:25. I'm going to make JPEGs, 6 by 9 inch, 300 DPI JPEGs, and then I'm going to send them all 4 files. And knowing that they gave this to me at the last minute, believe me, they're going to be really happy to have these files on time, ready to go for their publications. So I hope, shooting in the field, I hope this was helpful. I think we're going to do this again because people have asked, you know, what your process is. What do you think? Yes, we're interested if there are indecisions, how you decide what to do. It's not a perfect world. I come up against the same issues everybody has. So hopefully this has been helpful, and including the processing. So I'd like to know what your feelings are about this, and please let me know. And again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.